I kicked the stream off just so we can make sure that things are working as expected. And checkity check.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Come on, pokey little pucky. Do. All right, now we can test. Looks like everything's up.
Testing.
I'm in here, DM.
All right. Check. Yeah, my mic works here, but I don't hear it out on the stream. Should be. I know when you guys talk, it shows, so I don't hear anything coming across my stream out there.
Happy, joy.
All right, now we can test. Looks like everything's up. Holy crap. All right, I'm going to go ahead and launch the stream, but there's like almost a 60-second delay out there. Holy crap, here we go.
Read that black on the. It says there's some kind of reflection.
I'm reflecting on the past and the decisions I didn't take.
Good to me. That picture of the floor.
And here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of Agora Quest 21 Shots. You know who I am. I know who you are. I'm still glad that you are here. Appreciate you guys taking your Monday to hang out with us. If you're new here, though, welcome. For the rest of y'all, welcome back. We are in for hopefully a decent show tonight. And Ronnie's trying to tell me that when I kill him, as if anybody could, like, even if they wanted to, if they could kill Ronnie. I don't see that happening. But hey, if it happens, he says he's got a barbarian on the hook ready to come back. So, hey, man, at least we're prepared. Ronnie is our Boy Scout, if nothing else. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys coming back with us tonight. But before we get started, as always, go through some of the basics. Don't forget to get your Nat 1s and Nat 20s in early. If you watch the stream, you earn tokens. As you earn those tokens, you can trade those tokens in by clicking the little gold coin underneath the chat box. It'll pop up a window. You can trade those coins in for natural 1s or natural 20s. Just make sure you let us know which player or DM, of course, that is for. And hopefully it's for me, because I always roll like crap on here. These guys are constantly rolling nat 20s naturally, so I think I should go ahead and get some of the love. But if not, just let us know who it is and we'll assign it. If you can't decide, we'll just either decide for, or I think we should do a roll-off from now on. If somebody doesn't want to give it to an individual player, then we just need to do a roll-off, and whoever wins gets it added. But as of right now, new adventure. We completed the last one. For those that have been following along, we just completed WGA 1, which is the Flames of the Falcon, I believe it was called. And the party managed to, what it looks like, successfully completed that mission. And so now we are starting afresh in the free city of Greyhawk. So starting fresh means all those nat 20s that we all had. The party had a couple, I had a couple, but now nobody has anything. However, if you want to help support the stream as well as the players, for every 100 bits that you cheer, you can grant a +1 to your favorite player or DM. That does require that you choose, because those do get carried over from stream to stream, because you're actually spending your coin to help support us. And we want to make sure that we keep that love going for as long as we possibly can. With that said, the current standings are, I, your humble DM, have a +2 and a +5. Deglin, you have a pair of +5s and a +2. Baron, you have a pair of +5s and a pair of +1s. Ronnie, you have a +5. Varys, you have a +5 and a +2. Zadkill has a trio of +5s. And last but certainly not least, new guy, Reese, has nothing as of yet. So hopefully he will actually, no, I take that back, because last stream, oh no, that was, I think, our 5e stream. Let me look back and see when it was, because Cannibal visited the stream, but I think it was last Monday, wasn't? Did he come by last Monday and he dropped the bomb on us? Yeah, he did. So that means Reese currently has a +1 available as well. He actually only cheered 500, so technically only 5 of the characters should get it, but I gave the bonus +1. So Reese, you also have a +1 available. So that means the players, should they need to adjust their score up or down a maximum of 5 points, depending upon how many they have, they can adjust it based on whatever points they've got. Again, obviously a max of +5, and at the same time, you can only take it from one grouping. So if you got a +5 and a +2, the max you could take is +5. If you have a +2 and a +2, the max you could take is a +2, because you can only take from one group, and then and only then it could be a max of +5. But you don't have to worry about that. That's me. All you need to know is that you want to help support the stream, help support the player character, your choice. Just cheer 100 bits and let us know who gets that bonus +1, and we will make sure that it happens and it gets tracked appropriately.
Guardman just hooked Riss up with one.
What's that? Cardman. Nice, dude. Very much appreciate that. So Reese now has a +2 available. Thanks, Cardman. Appreciate that. So yeah, so
No, he first he gave him a nat 1, not a +1.
Oh, my bad. He got a nat 1. Thank you. All right. Well, still he has. So now Reese has a nat 1. See, now we're just gonna start rolling these in here. So Reese has a +1 and a nat 1. Look at that, man. New guy's on a roll. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. So anyway, if yep, got it all squared away, dude. Thanks, appreciate it. We're just slow on the uptake. We'll be okay. That's why I have you guys out there watching the stream, because I can't do like two things at once, man. I have to focus like a laser. Actually, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not completely screwed over for this session. I got everything that I need. So anyway, like I said, if you want to help support stream, go ahead and do that. Like I said, for every 100 bits cheered, you can give a nat or give a +1 to the player of your choice. And get those nat 1s and nat 20s in early, because they normally are only available for the current stream. Sometimes we do carry those over depending, but for the most part, those are free and easy to come by for the most part. So the more you interact, the more you get, so the more you can help the party out. For those that also know, we are part of the Greyhawk Creatives team page. Go out there, check us out, and see all the other great Greyhawk content that's out there. I encourage you to do so. If you don't know where it is, that's fine. ! Socials, and that will give you everything you need to know. I posted it once earlier, and looks like Lando just did it again for me. Thanks, dude. You can see our Twitter out there. You can see our Discord channel, YouTube channel. For every stream that we do, we make sure that we push it out to YouTube, because it only stays for about a week on Twitch, but YouTube is forever. So I encourage you to check it out. And like I said, the last
Until
one,
you go on your anti-trans rants, DM.
I would never do that. I would never do that, but that's all right. But you are correct. We will toe the party line, just so it doesn't get us banned. And as of right now, I have 0 hits against any content, although I will say that a couple times YouTube has flagged me. All right, who's got their mic on that's like sending feedback through us here? Anyway, so I did get one time early when we were first streaming. YouTube came back and said, "Hey, that's a song that you can't play on your intermission because that could be copyrighted material." I'm like, "All right, dude, whatever." So now we just use Monkey's music, and nobody wants it to claim Monkey's music, so we just use that. So anyway, but like I said, I appreciate you guys being here. Let's talk about where we were. As I said, the party finally managed to clear out the remnants of the cult lair that was the spurned cult of Ayus, the heinous group that was attempting to bring a being known as the Falcon. Nobody knows who or what the Falcon is. Took the shape of a snake, took the shape of a woman. Not really sure. All we know is that she or it or whatever they were trying to do something in the city itself in order to gain favor with Ayus. But the party, being the stalwart heroes, undaunted by the task at hand, went into the sewers below, found the cult lair, laid a bit of whoop ass on them. Actually found a couple of the individuals who had been captured during one of their escapades out to Shacktown. They found a diary from a gentleman by the name of Jansen. And Jansen was one of the two individuals, or one of the individuals that they found below. Apparently the cult was grabbing people and kind of forcing them into joining the cult in some way, shape, or form. But they found him a little bit beat up and not the worse for wear, but he had failed to give in to them. But I guess they got there just in time, because they did find out what happened to some others who apparently refused to toe the party line. But be that as it may, our party managed to come out relatively unscathed. They were in the last festival that recently just passed. There was the crud. I gotta turn my calendar on here. I always forget the order of the festivals. I don't know why. I've only been doing this for like 30 years. I don't know why the hell I would ever forget anything like that. But during the Need Fest festival, which is essentially the end of the year, the winter festival, which sort of centers around the upcoming spring and the rebirth, and hopefully everything's going to go well, et cetera, et cetera. During the entirety of Need Fest, the party found themselves invited to many of the wingding shindigs that are thrown through festival times. They were paraded about the city as heroes, but the festival has since come and gone, and we now find ourselves in the new month of Fireseek, the common year 587 now, whereas we began in Fireseek of 586. We are now Fireseek 587. It is the 9th day of Fireseek in the common year of 587. The 9th day, which it's been about 2 weeks now since you guys have all come back from the sewers and sort of eked out a little bit of an existence here in town. I'll leave it up to you whether or not you guys elected to get your own little apartment in town somewhere, similar to what your friend Talisic Thraden, the Paladin of St. Cuthbert, was doing, or if you elected to stay within the Whistling Fish over in the River Quarter. It's on the border of the river and the Foreign Quarter. That's where you guys first came into town. That's where you had been staying. I'll leave it up to you whether or not you wanted to do that, but it all works out to be about the same, of about a 2 gold piece a month, 2 gold piece a month to keep those quarters however you may. So,
I thought they were paying.
well, they did for a while, but I don't think it was like forever. I don't think we said it was forever.
Right.
But like I said, be that as it may, you guys find yourselves now sort of eking out your existence here in the free city of Greyhawk. Couple weeks, as I said, has gone by. I've talked to at least one of you because I had asked folks to kind of let me know what you were going to do during your downtime over the next couple of weeks, and I had a little bit of feedback from some, and those that did get with me, I kind of gave you a little feedback back, so we kind of know what has been transpiring over the past couple of weeks. I am going to assume that because you guys are who you say you are, or are who you are, during the festival and the height and everybody sort of cheering your names and, buying you dinners and drinks and wanting to know who you are and what your story is, you managed to get your items all identified without having to waste all of your in-house wizards' time and energy and pearls in order to identify every item. So at the end of the game or after tonight's session, I will make sure I get you guys what all those are, and you can decide what you want to do with them, whether it's sell them or whether it's keep them or give them to a party member for whatever they want, etc. But we can handle that offline, since nobody had gotten with me the first time, and I should have told you that last session, that you could get all that identified. So, and we were discussing that offline beforehand. So with that, before we get too far into it, was there anything that anybody wanted to go over, through, or cover before we kick off this 90th episode of Agora Quest 1E1 Shots?
I just want to follow up with the response you gave me.
Okay. All right. So as we discussed, you did manage to make a couple of contacts within the river quarter. You guys had received a note from the rat that kind of gave you a little bit of a nudge during your investigation, and since then you have come to discover who the rat is, and you have met the individual, although it's not like, oh, we're buds now. It's sort of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I'm the HMFIC. Don't don't let us catch you doing things on an ad hoc basis. If you're going to do anything, you're going to do it for us, or you're not going to do it all, etc.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff you've discovered, the guild in the river quarter, they tend to be like your typical mafioso, right? They're
Yeah.
oh yeah, things are going to be really safe around here. Well, you probably should pay for a security service, and we've got the guys that are willing to provide
Yeah.
that security. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that, right? Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
all
So,
that.
yep. So that's kind of what their MO is in this particular district. But with that said, you have made some inroads over the past couple of weeks with regards to the crews, right, and what they do and who they are, and you've seen some of the bullies and whatnot going about and taking their payments for those who are willing to pay, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep, so
That's fine. That I was looking for maybe I'll have to look for my own place, obviously.
okay.
So
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah,
they have flop houses and stuff,
yeah,
but you have to be a member in order to do
yeah,
so, right? So if you're willing to
yeah,
join, then yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, you got a flop house to hang out at. So, if not, there's all kinds of places in the River Quarter, Foreign Quarter, as well as over in Clerksburg, as you are aware.
yeah,
There are houses available, apartments for rent, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah,
now with that, um, while you are engaged, you do, after speaking to some of your contacts one day, you do find out that there was something going on in the lower city, in and around the Great Burn, which raises the hackles in the back of your neck because you know that's where the cult was. That's where you guys just took them down. And after the fact, the church and the city did send a plethora of their guards and clergymen, as well as some individuals from the Mages Guild, to sort of clean up and take out the remainder of the cult area. But even so, even though it's been a couple of weeks and it's still kind of fresh in your brain, you still have sort of wake up sort of dreaming about, some of the things that went on. You hear whispers from some of the guild that somebody in the city wasn't happy. They found something that they didn't like, but the guild hasn't, their informants in the city haven't been able to give them any more than some people are pretty uptight, and they're very tight-lipped, much more than usual, which means probably they found something, or something has happened that is really they don't like. There's something they're worried about, I guess. And as if on cue, all of you on the 9th day of Fireseek, common year 587, wherever it is that you may find yourselves residing after these past couple of weeks in downtime, you receive a letter from the church asking if you could meet High Priestess Eratai in the meeting hall of the Temple of St. Cuthbert. It is of the utmost importance that you be seen at your earliest convenience. And the way you read it, earliest convenience seems to be code for right fucking now.
You know, I guess to an early church of favor, even though I did the whole city and the church a favor. They owe me.
Not to change the subject, but we did discuss that I was going to go back to my hometown.
Yep.
And what anything of that come about?
Spending a couple of weeks, you went up to Diamond Lake, which is a little. That's where we said, right?
Yeah.
Diamond Lake.
Right.
It is a little mining community, just on the border of the Cairn Hills to the north, but it's sort of to the northeast. So if you take the main road out of town, it goes up into the hills, and then it sort of splits off. And the eastern road kind of rides the lower hills to the east until it gets up to Diamond Lake. And Diamond Lake is a rather industrious area. Obviously, it's a mining community. When you get there, while there is not a shrine to Jeskar, by the time you leave, there was worshippers of Jeskar, but they didn't have like a formal building and whatnot. But you were able to create a small little chapel with a couple of acolytes to kind of maintain the place until you come back or you are there. And so while you are there providing services as a priest, you're not out there adventuring, you're not knocking heads.
Right.
You're holding service one day to Jeskar and spreading his faith, and you've probably got maybe 5 or 6 people that come to your services regularly. You're finding that every time you give a service, it seems like maybe there's 1 or 2 people more and somebody else that's not there. So people are coming and going, but on the whole, your crowd has grown, doubled in size over the past week. And so even though it's only 6 or 7 people, it's doubled in size. And if you can continue to get it to double in size, maybe pretty soon the main god up here in the wilds of the Cairn Hills, in the mining communities, you could actually put a dent in some of the more prominent deities that are worshipped up here. But at the end of your service, you see standing in your doorway an acolyte wearing the iconography and the coloring on the robes of a acolyte to St. Cuthbert, and he bears a sealed letter from the church. And as I described, it essentially says, for all you have done, your services may be needed again at your earliest convenience. Please join High Priestess Eratai at the Temple of St. Cuthbert in the free city of Greyhawk. We look forward to your arrival. And so
Immediately.
And essentially everybody in the group, wherever you might be staying, you receive a letter of the same type. It is sealed with the official seal of the church. It bids you to join her on the 9th day of Fireseek in the early morning at your convenience. And barring anybody saying they're not going to go, it is the 9th day of Fireseek, and you find yourselves standing once again looking at the whitewashed marble building that you first met Talisic Thraden in. It is the large 3-story building that stands to the side and behind slightly the Temple of St. Cuthbert. It holds their church as well as most of their main offices, including on the second floor, the audience chamber where you first met High Priestess Aratai those 3 or 4 weeks ago, however long ago it was, when you first began investigating. The acolytes at the in the offices lead you into the pink marbled floors and the decorative pink marble staircase that sweeps upstairs to the second floor, and you arrive at the ornate oak doors that are carved. The door itself looks to be carved from one solid, massive chunk of oak, decorated with the life iconography of St. Cuthbert as it swings open into the large audience chamber. Therein you can see the 12 large life-size, larger than life actually, paintings of the various priests and holy warriors, paladins of St. Cuthbert that you guys have become familiar with, including the only one standing there without his shield in hand, whereas everybody else has shield with sword. He stands there with his shield laid up against him, his sword in hand, and yet he holds a green tome. And you guys all discovered during your last adventure that was the diary of Talamar Thraden, who was Talasek Thraden's grandfather. And it was through that diary that you guys learned a lot about the Falcon and the cult and what went on those many, many years ago, going on 70 years ago now. But anyway, be that as it may, you guys are led in and are all given seats around the table. A few moments later, a familiar face strides through the door as he claps his hand. "Friends, it is good to see you," as Talasek Thraden comes through the door dressed in his typical upper-class finery. No armor or anything, but you see him dressed out in the greens and blues of St. Cuthbert with the holy symbol of the cudgel swinging freely about his neck as he greets each one of you in turn, and he grabs his seat. So, does anybody know why the High Priestess has us here again? Anybody? As he looks around the table.
Shaking of heads.
Shaking of heads.
Must be trouble.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Maybe she just wants us here to give us a medal. Maybe that's it. Yes, that could be it. That's what I'm gonna stick with. But
maybe that one. Never mind.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time, once again, to smite evil.
Only if I'm getting paid.
So, several minutes passed when the doors at the far end of the hall open up. You see Aratai being ushered in with her assistants, who always seem to be in attendance, as well as a scribe that is following the trio. The two attendants, Latman and Figral, you recognize as they take their seats toward the head of the table, and Aratai walks to the far end of the table and sort of takes her seat next to the two. Then it's Talasek, and then the rest of you about the table. She looks and smiles. She goes, "I had hoped that we would not have to call upon your services quite so quickly." She sort of begins, and you can see that the lines on her face are kind of like her face is creased. She's got a little bit of sort of look of concern. She, until you, my friends, and of course, through the notices and interest shown by Lord Talasek here as well. Until a few weeks ago, we would not have known that this cult of Ayus was beneath our very noses. We are very fortunate that you stumbled into their goings on the way you did. The city, as well as the church, saw to it that the remains of the cult complex are no more. They have been collapsed underground and buried under hundreds of tons of rock and rubble. They shall provide sanctuary for such evil no more. However, we have discovered something that is of great concern to us. The city has been searching for the remnants of the cult, but none can be found, so we are sure that whoever or whatever they were, they have either gone underground, so to speak,
Like rats.
or they have fled the city, no doubt to gather in some other place. But if it's not in our city, it is not of our immediate concern. We had discussions about their leader, the Falcon. For when we searched the complex, we discovered a thing buried beneath the ground, much like an egg. It was wafer thin and perhaps 7 or 8 feet in diameter. But it was shattered, broken, and most concerningly, it is empty. We had our mages investigate, and we believe that this egg thing that we found buried beneath the temple may have been the device that the Falcon was supposed to be trapped in and sent to another dimension. It is our fear that we were not as successful as we had hoped. After such a long imprisonment, it is no doubt that the Falcon, if she did in fact escape, must be in need of much rest and much recuperation. And it is our hope and belief that this could be a very long process for as long as she was imprisoned. Perhaps weeks, perhaps months, surely at least days. But the best sages that we were able to consult on this matter, the best auguries that we were able to speak with our lords, we believe that we have weeks for her to regain her strength. She is no doubt deadly, as are those who would be her followers. We actually, here at the temple, consider ourselves to be of utmost at risk, for she knows it is us and our allies who cast her down and imprisoned her in the first place. I understand if you turn down our plea for aid, but as you have already shown yourselves to be of utmost strength, skill, and fortitude, as well as you already know our foe, at least to a little bit of an extent, we are reaching out to you again to see if you would be willing to aid our city once more. What say you?
Of course.
Again, we would be we would be understanding should you turn down such an offer. However, being of strong hearts that you are, how you took a stand against evil before, it is my personal belief that none better stand ready to take up this task than you.
So this will clear my debt to you then, and I can leave without having to worry about it?
Yes, if you wish that, absolutely. We were going to pay you, but if you would rather do it, if you would rather do it to clear your debt, then that's fine.
I mean, you said we owed you a debt, and
You
even though
absolutely.
we saved your city, so I'm a little.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it was we asked you to undertake it. You undertake the mission
Yeah,
and agree to do one further. So,
yeah.
but yes, regardless, those are mere details that can be sorted out. The task at hand is: are you willing to take up this mission, or are we going to have to put the word out for others to do so?
Ronnie says the acorns grow where they fall, so we might as well.
Reese says you don't have to ask twice, milady.
Looking over to Zadkiel and Deglin.
Oh, you know I'm in. And Zadkill's a paladin of St. Cuthbert. Of course he's in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to speak for him because he's here, but But that being said, she sort of smiles and sort of sits back and sort of waves her hand, and the refreshments begin to flow.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Needed here.
You know how to party, and
So then, what is it that we can provide for you that will make your task easier, by way of knowledge, by way of what it may be, right?
knowledge, healing, things remove curse, neutralize poison, or turn stone to flesh, or whatever.
Well, we
met all
can,
kinds of weird.
of course, the healing, any healing that is required, the church, you are considered acting agents of the church, and so healings and such are just part of the being a member of the church or an agent of the church. So you won't have to worry about healing. If for some reason,
taking some with us.
yeah, if you have to take with you, then we can certainly provide you with potions that would, for healing and whatnot. We could probably scrounge up a scroll or two of remove curse. The stone to flesh that you're asking for, that's a little out of our purview of the church. That would have to come from the Mages Guild, and we have no control over what they may or may not agree to.
No hair mage.
As everybody's head kind of turns and looks toward Baron, saying, "Well, dude, what you got?"
Yeah.
I mean, I've been turned to stone at least once, maybe more than once. I know we've met Medusas and Basilisks,
Yeah.
so we don't want to deal with any of those again. So we need to have a little bit of everything: holy water, potions of healing, extra healing, scrolls.
Yeah.
We need to be prepared.
Yep.
Because we can't be, we might be stuck somewhere for a while.
Yep. Well, we can definitely provide you with that sort of healing. But I shall leave you to work out the details. Lord Talasek, as always, is our liaison, and so
He's
can.
fully up to date with everything you guys already have on intelligence-wise.
Yes, in fact, he will probably be able to give you guys, whatever answers much better than I, as his grandfather was the one who headed up the first time. So I'm sure that he would be able to provide you in much better words than I could.
Great.
And so the high priestess and her.
Is he human?
Well, he is not necessarily going to come with you guys unless needed,
Okay.
right?
I got you.
He has since, you find that he has since moved from his apartment. He's living now back in a small apartment here at the church in these offices, because they're sort of like one room, one bedroom apartments, if you will, because the danger that he believes this cult presents to the church, because it is such animosity between Ayus and St. Cuthbert. He has no doubt that this cult is seeking and setting its sights on the temple itself, and so he came here so that he could help protect the acolytes and priests and whatnot, should anything come of it. But he does happen to say that he knows that his grandfather, so going on, it was a little over 60 years ago, when his grandfather and his comrades went after the cult, the Falcon, in the first place. And you discover that the two mages, one was by the name of Mizab Zalin. The other one was Quevel Maxim. Quevel and Mizab were the mages who constructed the dimensional rift that they threw the Falcon into. And the cleric, whose name was Elliman, which immediately raises the eyebrows of the priest of Cuthbert and the paladin of St. Cuthbert, because Elliman was previously the head of this temple. He ran the church in the free city of Greyhawk. So Talasek's grandfather, these two magic users, Mizab and Quevel, as well as the cleric Elliman, threw down the cult those many years ago. They're not sure what happened to these guys. Obviously, Talasek's grandfather has since passed away. You also know that Elliman has passed away, because these high priests are for life, and so he passed away. So the only thing that you guys really kind of know is who these guys were when they first threw down the cult, and now you know that the cult itself has tried to resurrect the
Falcon.
The Falcon. Thank you.
Here's a question about that, though. Did we ever find a causation of what the Falcon is in relation to Ayus?
So all you know is that she is some kind of a shape-shifting being. You know that apparently this Falcon was trying to gain favor with Ayus. And so, so they created this cult, but because of the powers that she had, this cult kind of worshipped her, while at the same time worshiping Ayus, right? So worshiping Ayus through her, if you will, I guess. And so Talasek does have his grandfather's book, and he says, I was reading my grandfather's journal these past couple of weeks, because reliving the life of back in the day and the excitement of all that he did and all the works, the good works that he did, I found some interesting passages that I've been sort of pondering, and now with this concern that perhaps the Falcon was not sent back to her plane but somehow managed to escape it unbeknownst to us. And if she has escaped, she is surely gathering power somewhere. We have to, and it is our feeling that we should figure out everything we possibly could about who the Falcon was and who my grandfather and those that trapped and how they discovered who she was and how they trapped her in the first place. Perhaps if we can kind of revisit some of that, it'll give us more information. But he tells you that he's been pondering this passage from his grandfather's diary. Now, this is about a year after the fact. So going on almost 70 years ago, the Falcon was captured. A year after that capture, he reads this passage that we've suspected that the Falcon had a secret lair somewhere outside the city walls. We have frequently seen a Falcon leaving the site of the cult's temple, but were never able to track it. We were also suspicious when the raid on the cult's underground rooms yielded few personal belongings. With the Falcon gone, we were left without a trail to follow. Quevel and Mizab have flown many missions using their spells, searching for her lair. I fear that if such a lair exists, we may go to our graves without ever finding it. Only St. Cuthbert knows what horrors may exist in such a place. The mages have proposed a journey into the wilds to explore an area they feel may yield some clues. We set out tomorrow on a journey whose mission may put our fears or our souls to rest. And as he continues through, he says, there's the next passage he found interesting because of the way it was written. He says it was so sloppily written, so unlike his grandfather, he can only assume that his grandfather was either severely beaten or perhaps exhausted or combination of both. For 7 days we have trekked and hunted in the wilds, but to no avail. Despite the best efforts of the mages and their pets searching from every possible angle, we still found nothing. Mazab is convinced that her lair must exist and has vowed to find it if it requires the rest of his days. And that could be a long quest, since I expect that Mizab will outlive all of us. The rest of us, Quevel, Elliman, Nashir, and myself, have sworn to assist him if we can, although our faith in the lair's existence is less than firm. So the diary, the diary, he says, continues similarly other passages with numerous trips of excavations out into the wild that yield nothing. But it always comes back to the unwavering desire of Mazab to find this lair. He is the one driving that. He is certain that it exists. The others aren't so sure it does exist, but because of his steadfast belief and how good of friends they all are, this group of individuals has decided to sort of stick together and kind of go through it. So in an entry that goes about 15 years later, after the Falcon's imprisonment, Talamar in his journal notes the death of Quevel the mage. He describes it as a peaceful passing of a man who spent good days on earth. Quevel had grown very old, and his time had come. Talamar, Mazab, and Elliman were all at his side when he passed. Talamar also recorded that Quevel bequeathed all his money to the temple of Cuthbert and all of his worldly possessions to Mazab. Several years later, the diary records the installation of Elliman as the head of the temple of St. Cuthbert. Talamar noted that Elman's position was likely to be short-lived since he had already gotten on in years, and by the time he was assigned the priest, he was already close to 80 years old. He also notes that Elman, who remained a bachelor his whole life, actually found a family of sorts to comfort him in his old age. A young girl of about 10 years old had arrived at the temple one day in search of shelter. Apparently she was an orphan and offered her services as a cleaning girl in exchange for a home. She and Elman apparently were drawn close together and almost immediately became their own small family. And apparently these two were very close, living like great-grandfather and great-granddaughter together until the day that he passed some 8 or 9 years later. So as he sort of flips through the diary showing you guys all of this, he shows again several over the years, even after this fact, that where it was now more or less Talamar and Mizab heading out into the wilds in search of a suspected lair, but again, they never found anything, and they continued after Elman passed away, Kevel, and finally Talamar, pushing 70 years old, finally had enough and decided that he could not continue. However, his son Edgar took up the mantle and went with Mizab out there trying to search for the lair. And one of the entries talks about the birth of Talasik and how happy and what a light in the world Talamar found Talasik at his birth. Finally, 34 years after the Falcon had been originally imprisoned, Mizab found a clue that he believed would lead them to the lair. He wouldn't tell anybody the meaning of it, and he and Edgar had returned from a mission in the wilds, but he wanted to be certain before sharing the entire story. Although Talamar's health was in decline, he helped Mizab and Edgar make their preparations. Made preparations for their journey. They agreed only to authenticate the lairs belonging to the Falcon, and they would later come back to bring those forces necessary to cast it down. And so you were going to have, before I read the last passage, you said you had a question?
Yeah, one was if Mizab was still alive.
That's unknown right now, and let's find out.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, did they note any locations, landmarks?
Nothing
Anything?
nothing that has been said in the diary yet that you're aware of.
Okay.
The final entry in the journal follows soon after Mizab reported his discovery. And this is a quote. "My excitement is so great I can hardly write. Mizab and Edgar have returned from the wilds and have located after all these years what is for sure the former lair of the Falcon. Mizab has headed for home in order to rest and begin work on the map, which will show the route to the lair. We have decided to make only one map that Mizab will guard for the rest of his days. We hope that we will never have need for it, but feel this is a necessary step to ensure the safety of Greyhawk. Mizab and Edgar will set out in 3 days to explore the lair. They have both agreed that it looks small and simple and do not expect any problems, but they will go prepared for the worst. As for me, my time is drawing near. I am an old man and I have seen much in my days. I can now rest easy knowing that the last trace of the menace which we have called the Falcon has been discovered and will be rendered safe. Mizab will visit tomorrow to show the work he has done on the map. I'm eager to see what he has described, and I'm especially eager to learn what he meant when he said that we had been hunting from the wrong point of view for all of these years. He said today that we were all thinking like birds when we should have been thinking like snakes. I have a suspicion that I understand his meaning, but I will wait until tomorrow before I set forth my own guesses. The time draws late, and today has held more than enough excitement, for I'm an old man, I will rest now, eager for the news that tomorrow will bring. The diary contains no more entries after that. He sort of looks up, shakes his head, and says, "Unfortunately, my friends, this is the last entry in my grandfather's journal." He soon passed after that.
So, okay,
And what of this map? Has it
exactly.
ever been found?
This is one of the things that we believe we need to search for. We need to search for perhaps Mazab if he still lives, which I highly doubt, for he was, while younger than the rest of the group, will certainly be extremely advanced in age today, if he is even alive.
He was a wizard, though, right?
That is correct.
No
Um,
wizards have ways of making them live longer.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sure that there are, but
well, he's not a lich or something.
right, yeah, that would
A
be
lich.
that.
That's what I was thinking. Is a lich. Uh,
Mhm.
here's a question. Edgar also
his-
knew the location of
That's
this
his
place,
that's his father.
right?
Yep, his father died in battle.
But maybe secreted amongst his father's things, there may be a map.
that's-
Also, that girl that was adopted by the cleric.
Yes,
Maybe he passed on something to her.
that's quite possible. Elliman was the high priest of this church.
He may have hidden something or passed it on to her. Yeah. So we should look into that as well.
Now Mazab was a mage, so he would have been known to the Mages Guild. His
Wow.
information may have been kept there.
True, or other like records, library. The Mages Guild would be a place to look. So yeah, so there are
Archives of the
definitely
church?
there are starting places, and like Varys just said, the girl was here at this church, so surely there was probably a record of her if she became a clergy member, or because she's
They never gave her name. What was her name?
Aratai.
Aratai.
So that being said, if anybody took any notes, hopefully you did.
I've been writing some down. Yeah.
So
Aratai was the granddaughter adopted.
well, yeah,
I didn't take any other than making note of
yeah.
some of the people.
Yep. No, I mean, I just want to make sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I will
I'm thinking-
I will always provide you guys information whether or not you wrote it down or not.
I know.
Snake got to be underground, gentlemen, instead of up in a nest.
Well, yeah, we know that they were under the city. Snakes live in what? Holes, burrows?
Depends on the type of snake.
Yeah, and abandoned tunnels. So yeah, those are caves, tunnels. Where is the nearest dwarven or gnomish community? Might be somewhere. Let's see. Do we know where they were looking?
No idea.
Oh,
Just know they went out to the wilds.
Yeah,
But
find that map.
the gnome community. There is a gnome community called Grossetgrottel, which is to the north, slightly west, but basically to the north of the city, up in the Cairn Hills.
Yeah,
That's
so
that is a prominent gnome community there. There are other small dwarf communities and stuff, but they're mostly related to like Blackstone and Diamond Lake, which are the sort of the mining communities up in the hills to the north. So yeah.
Well,
Have I ever heard of anything like this?
remember
From
we
Diamond
found
being
We've
Being
been in
from-
mines before. Oh yeah.
Being from Diamond Lake, have I ever heard any of these stories of this nature? Or
No. Never heard anything of this falcon, or there's obviously always rumors about cults of Ayus, and just because you guys are in the semi-wild, you've got orcs and other tribes of creatures that roam through the hills that these soldiers typically keep away from civilization. But as far as anything like this, a powerful entity like this called the Falcon, nothing.
figures. Okay.
Everybody give me an intelligence check, please.
Son of a.
No,
I
I am never going to give you wisdom. It's always going to be intelligence.
That's my worst possible trait. I made it, actually. Holy crap, I won. I made it by 1.
All right. I'll go with those.
I
So
failed by 3, so
yeah, that's fine. No, you
no
don't.
point.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother wasting points. Who's rolling as party? That's kind of weird. That's
I
anyway.
don't know.
Anyway, anyhow, Ronnie rolled a D20 plus 12. I like
Yeah,
that.
it was the wrong die. I couldn't figure out how to get it
Yeah.
off of there.
Oh, good. If you left click on it, it'll add it, and if you right click on it, it'll decrement. On the little ones at the bottom down there.
Roger.
So, Reese and Deglin, as you guys are just kind of talking, both of you just look at each other like, are you fucking kidding me? I didn't catch that. As you realize the name Eratai is the name of the current high priestess of the Temple of St. Cuthbert.
I was actually thinking it already, and I was like, what is her name?
Yeah. Oh,
So,
I think
Eratai,
he ran
you think-
away a little too quickly, I guess.
if you think, but I mean, you think if she's the one briefing us, she would have told us, hey, my personal knowledge of this is blah, blah, blah.
Well, she doesn't necessarily know all the details that Talisic is reading to you guys from his journal, right?
Zadkill, stop stealing. Damn paladins. I don't know what's up with you.
I know, man. He's like looting everything. He's looting the
Oh, I'm
party.
trying to find my token. I can't find it.
Your token's not on the map because you guys are in the city. There is no token for you.
How do I roll this?
You have to open up your character sheet.
That's what I'm looking for, my character sheet.
If you on the top icons, the one that looks like a little person, you click on it, it'll give a list of the PCs.
Yeah,
says
it's
act-
not,
Yeah,
actor-
so
it's not working for me.
Actors is not working for you?
Oh, it says the person picture at the top left says token control. I click
no.
on it.
On the top right, there's on the right hand side. Remember, you've got, if you look on the stream, you can see I've got it opened at the top, and it's got the actors at the top up there.
It's the third icon over from the
Yeah.
from the left.
Is
Okay.
there a mating ground for snakes, a large mating ground for snakes in this area around the city?
No, not that you know of. It's kind of wildlands around. To the south is the swamp, of what they call the mist marsh. Maybe not technically a swamp. It's more a huge ass marsh, but it's kind of the same thing.
Oh,
That's a good place
snakes
to
from
look.
Holly here.
Yeah, that's true. All right, there we go. So anyway, you guys realize that as you're sort of talking and discussing. So now it comes to, what do we want to do first? We're here at the church. We can always ask the lady to come back, or go see her, see where she's at, to go talk to her.
Yes.
Or we can elect to do search. This is just, I just want to give everybody, for setting expectations, very similar to the last adventure. There is going to be a probably a plethora of investigation that kind of goes on to kind of get the clues to find, where to look next, and that may find you where to look after that, et cetera, et cetera. Just sort of tracking things down. So just be aware that, especially on the front end, there is going to be a lot of role-playing, interacting, and gaming here in the Free City as you try to discover who, what, where, and what. Or how, I should say. So, that being said, what are our plans? Who's doing what? What do we want to do first?
I would have a suggestion that we send the mage to the Mages Guild and see if there's any information he can glean from about Mazab. Right? Mazab.
Okay.
Are there
And-
any great like evil marshes or anything outside or around the city?
Well, that's what I said. The closest thing you got is the Mist Marsh, which is to the south.
Okay, is that officially a place of evil?
Oh, not. I mean, it's a marsh, right? So yeah, evil creatures live there. There people farm along the edge of the marshes, but there are tribes of creatures like lizard men and the occasional small black dragon has seen coming up out of the marshes and stuff. So, but I wouldn't say it's like your classic Mordor or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay.
Did we ever capture? Because we had a listing of all the people that were actually in the cult. We
Yep.
found that information.
Yep.
Were those people ever brought in, checked out, or
To your knowledge, yes. There was a lot of activity in town with the city watches. Come to find out that some of the guards were involved with the cult, and that's how they were able to get around places at night, get through gates without signing paperwork and stuff like that. But a lot of the people on the list on the names were just those who were dragged and brought in and forced to be in members of the cult. They weren't like clergy and stuff like that. But others were, and yes, they have been, as far as, and like Eritai said when she was discussing that, no stone was left unturned as the evil was sort of rooted out of the city, and they're pretty confident that the cult itself, their operations in the city are no more. But you never know.
well, if we have access to one of the remaining persons of the cult that were of higher rank that may have some type of knowledge to this, could we get an invitation to maybe talk to them?
Yeah, we could probably do that, to have you guys have them round up one of the ones that was in the cult or whatever and brought to you guys so you can kind of talk to them. Talk to them, sure.
Are they still imprisoned, or are they been let free, or
You don't know.
okay?
You don't know.
So yeah, let's see if we can find one of the highest ranking that were in the clergy that's left that we didn't kill, and see if we can glean any information from them. This is one of multiple things we're going to try to do here.
Okay. All right. So then, the way I see it here, then, first thing is that Baron is going to head to the Mages Guild. And you guys are going, or is Baron going to go by himself, or is anybody be going with Baron, I guess I should say, to the Mages Guild?
Will they talk to somebody like a mage with a non-mage present? They're very secretive, so.
I mean,
I think this should be something that Baron does by himself.
right.
Okay.
Okay. So, just so everybody's aware, on the current map where you're at, the Mages Guild Hall is over here.
That pyramid.
On the pyramid looking, it's actually it's a four-sided pyramid looking thing. Baron, you also know that unless you are a member of the guild, You do not get in without an appointment.
Maybe
You-
the
You do
maybe
know
the high
that.
priest, maybe the high priestess can, facilitate a quicker audience.
I will go over there and leave my calling card.
Okay. Okay, so Baron departs. You guys, it's around noonish right now as you guys are getting ready to sort of begin your investigations in earnest. And Baron heads off toward the Wizards Guild in order to get an appointment. Takes you about a half hour to get there, Baron. And every time you've seen this building, now you yourself have never been inside, but you have seen it. But you have talked with mages down around the library in Clerksburg, which is in the other side of the wall in town. So you're in the upper echelon of town. So if you go down to Clerksburg, what I always call it, College Town, you've spoken with like lots of guild members and stuff down there. You've just never become a member of the guild because of the fact that how much they make you pay and how much of your research has to go to them. Sort of like copyright, working for an employer. Whenever you invent something, they get first dibs on it, et cetera, et cetera. So some of their rules that they stipulate typically rub the adventuring type of wizards the wrong way. That being said, it's still an impressive edifice of a large, almost a 4-story pyramid-like structure. And it has its entire walkway is lit up by like what appears to be one constant continual light spell that covers the entire road from about probably 200 feet from the guild all the way up to the front. It's like walking on a wall of light, if you will. That's how it is, and it's all continual light. As you step up toward the structure, it's almost all black. You're not really sure if it's all one stone or it is a whole bunch of stones that are just so tightly packed together as to look to be one stone. But it really looks like a pyramid with a sweeping set of stairs that go all the way up to the top. And as you approach, you are met by what are known as the porters. The porters are dwarves. They wear armor just like a regular soldier and stuff does, but you have no doubt that their armor is magically enhanced. Their weapons are obviously magically enhanced. The dwarves themselves are very stoic. And as you approach, they both come to attention simultaneously together like synchronized marching. Just step out and stop, and their weapons cross before you. And as they speak, both of their voices go together, one slightly off from the other, but in perfect harmony as far as pitch and sound goes. And they say, "Halt, traveler. Only those with gained appointments are allowed to pass. Lest ye be a member, then you may pass."
I would like to make an appointment to talk to a mage. Is that
And they both stand up. "Please, for the record, state who you are and what is the nature of your concerns."
My name is Baron Feldman. I am a mage, of course, and I am on a mission from the Temple of St. Cuthbert, try to discover an area where the rebirth of the Falcon might take place, and this area would be outside of the city because it has not been discovered inside of the city.
Your record has been noted. You shall be notified of your time of appointment.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen.
And they both sort of come to attention together, step back together, and then go back to their original placement, looking straight ahead.
Okay. I'm going to head off to the sages.
Okay, so the sages, the best place to find them is in the library. So you're talking like down in Kirksburg. So
I have some contacts down there.
okay, I'm trying to see which one it was. C2. Yeah, that's what I thought. Where are we? Oh yeah, so the library is here, all the way at the back. Of Clarksburg, so it's sort of on the back side of the entire college town. So it's probably going to take you about an hour or so to kind of walk down there to get your way. And in the meantime, what are we doing back at the Temple of St. Cuthbert? What do you guys want to handle? Deglin, Varys, Reese, anybody?
Make an appointment and talk to the high priestess.
So,
See if there's a map.
all right. So Talisic leads you guys out of the main office into a series of smaller offices, and eventually you come to the office of the high priestess, and then he knocks, and he's granted entry, is gone for a moment, and then leads you all into the office behind a large, well-appointed desk in a very well-appointed room with pretty much anything that has to do with the life and times of St. Cuthbert and the free city of Greyhawk. It's here. There are paintings. There are statues. It's just kind of covering, though. It's kind of like a lot of overload, too. Some might almost call it gaudy, but it's very meticulously appointed and well set. And the high priestess Eratai sort of raises and gives a slight bow. She goes, I had not expected to see you back this quickly. What have you found?
Lord Telicent's grandfather's journal had some interesting information concerning you
She
and
looks and
your
she goes,
association with the previous head priest. And we want to ask,
great grandfather Elliman, you mean?
yes,
Oh, well, please sit. Do sit. I will be happy to discuss anything that you wish to discuss about him. He was a great and dear man.
well, there's a mention of a map that might be useful
A
in
map.
this quest. Yeah,
Or any writings, journals,
or artifacts left
things.
behind. Yeah,
Yeah, things he might have left behind.
paintings where the map might be hidden. Yeah, any number of things.
Well, I met Elliman when I first came here. She sort of smiles, like 40 years ago. Has it been that long? Well, it's incredible how fast and how quickly our time passes here. It's just, he was very, very caring to me. Perhaps he just grew lonely in his old age. I had no one. My family was long since gone, but he took me in as if I was his own family and remained close until the day he died. Whoa, that was maybe 8-9 years after we met. He had just become he'd ceased his adventuring with his friends and took on the mantle of the order. And then perhaps 8 years after that, he was gone. It was still leaves a hole in my heart. I miss him very much. But he was a Spartan. He was a Spartan liver. He didn't keep anything for himself. Everything that he had that I know of, he donated to the church monetarily or gifts wise. I do not recall any maps, but
Does the church have an archive, library of
of course.
sorts that we could spend some time in?
Or art. Maybe he made it look like art.
Oh,
Did you? Did he move immediately here after taking you in? Or
Oh
did
no,
he put you in?
he was here before I arrived.
Oh, he was already here.
Yes,
Okay.
he used to do a
Whereas-
lot of adventuring with Lord Talisek's grandfather and
Yes.
a couple of the mages.
Yep.
Do
And
you remember Mazab?
Mazab, yeah, so she sort of, you could see the brains, the wheels kind of clicking in her brain, and he spoke of Mazab from time to time, although I never met him until after Elman died. I knew that he was a man who shared a great many experiences with Elman, but unfortunately Mazab was on one of his well-known excursions when Elman died. They were that whole group of them were so close. I can't see Mazab or Talamar or anybody missing the funeral of Elman if it weren't for some great import. So I am certain he would have been here. When I asked, of course, the elder clerics about notifying Mazab of his death, they told me that Talamar had agreed to convey the news to Mazab upon his return. And Elamon always said Mazab was a friend who could be trusted. He could be turned to in a time of need. He told me he had mentioned me to Mazab, and that any time I needed him, all I had to do was ask. But he also mentioned that Mazab was fairly reclusive, and not to be intimidated, I guess is a good word for on his need. It was almost an obsessive need for his own privacy. Apparently, if you were his friend, he was open and relaxed, but everybody else around him, he was apparently very standoffish and very reclusive.
So
I wonder if
I heard you.
ever
Go ahead.
became. I wonder if ever. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't heard that name in years, and I wonder whatever happened to him. It's just I
Well,
know he lived in the city, but I don't know where.
You were told that you could call on Mazab at any time.
Well, yes, if I knew where he was, I could call him, and apparently he would be willing to help in any way that he could.
Mages have other ways of hearing when they're being called.
Well, perhaps I don't know. We in the church have similar ways of contacting.
Exactly.
Did your grandfather use this office or a different office?
No, this was his office. This is the church of the prelate. So
No.
this is the office that he had. So
Well, it's possible that map is here somewhere.
well,
Or the wizard has it.
yes, it's true. I wish I could tell you how to find him, but I don't know what happened. It's like the as I think about it, it's like he just up and disappeared, like on one of his excursions. He just disappeared and never came back. I can ask the elders and see if anyone who may have an idea.
Well, he might be in hiding too, or specifically Rent disappeared.
Yeah, this is true.
Where-
I do know that he did have a penchant for gray clothing, and he had this incredibly long. He must have had the longest arms as I think about it. As a child, men look large anyway, but he had this big pipe that he used to love to puff upon. It was quite comical sometimes, actually.
I'm getting Gandalf vibes here.
I just have sword man vibe.
Yeah.
Mithrandir.
So I will say this,
Playing that
as I
video.
think as she sits there and is kind of pondering things, and you guys are just talking back and forth, she says, if I remember, and it has been years, but I believe Elliman said that we could probably contact Mazab through the guild hall if I needed him, and that he would be able to prove that he was in fact Mazab, whatever that means.
Could you send a letter to the guild and ask?
So to ask if we knew or where or
if you could have them get in contact with Mazab.
Oh, of course, yes, absolutely. I can definitely do that. So, yeah, but and unfortunately, all I can tell you is that I know he lived in the city. So, and I understand that he was a rather prominent author. He was known for his flying, his work in different types of flying magics, levitations, flying, things of this nature.
Would those works be located within your own library?
No. If you're probably in the, I would assume that either the guild hall or the great library itself would have works that mentioned him or authored by him, because he was well known in those areas.
He may have left clues in his own workings that could possibly get us on the right trail here.
This is possible, but I will have my scribe write this letter as soon as possible. As you guys are discussing this, there's a knock on the door, and a scribe opens, and there, coming through the door, is Baron, returning from his quick excursion to the guild hall.
I'm assuming you didn't get to talk to anybody?
I did not get to talk to anybody, and I have a feeling that I will not be able to talk to anybody.
Well, maybe Iritai here can get some access for you. If you could maybe mention his name in your letter.
Of course. I will see to it that you get whatever audience it is that you need.
And in the meantime, I think we need to go check out the Great Library and see if we can find some works by Mazab.
And I shall go and talk to the sages with whom I've met before.
Okay.
And drop coin, and hope to come back with some information.
All right. So
Reese would like to be around for the interrogation of whoever it is they come up with.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have, as of right now, we have Baron is going to see some of the sages that he has spoken to previously.
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to the library?
That sounds like something Ronnie would enjoy.
Okay. I might go with him, or I might go to the interrogation, depending on. I don't know much about wizardry, though, so.
All right. So let me note this down. So Ronnie, library, Baron, sages, Reese, interrogation. I don't like the sound of that, but okay. Deglin, you need to decide. You're going to hang out with Reese and talk to these folks that were former cult members, or are you going to go with Ronnie to the library?
I'll go for the interrogations.
Okay. Vera, so you're going to hang for the interrogations, or you're going to go to the library, or you got something else you're going to do?
I'm going to hang for the interrogation, or see if the priestess will let me poke around her office in a polite manner, not,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
see if I can find a map hidden in your.
She will absolutely allow you to search here as long as she is here to be able to witness you.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to steal anything from.
Yeah.
Don't be sniffing her skivvies.
I mean, that might happen, but I mean, I am an elf.
You guys are sailors at heart, man. You guys are all right. And what about Zadkiel? Is he going to do anything, or is he just going to hang out? What are you going to do?
Yeah, he's gonna hang out and watch the interrogation.
Okay. All right.
See if he learns anything from that.
Okay. So you guys all sort of split your separate ways, so to speak. Reese, Deglin, Zadkill, you guys are brought down to the main floor with one of the side offices down there. It's going to take a little while, probably take a few hours to have whoever it is that you want to talk to brought here. They still have some of the former cult members going through their medical facility here. Some of them were in a pretty bad way, so they still have a few of them here, but it's going to take a little while to actually get them brought to you guys. So you guys.
Okay, what's the closest tavern then? I'll go have a drink or two while I'm waiting.
Okay. So let's look in the high quarter where you guys are. Probably. Let's look in this one here. So where are you guys? G3. Where are you?
The nymph and the satyr.
Yep, G3. So right over here, the nymph and the satyr is like right across the area from you guys. So
Yeah, I'll hike over there.
it's a large private residence here, and the nymph and satyr over there. A very well-to-do tavern. Let me see. I can actually get you a description here. Just give me just a second. Oops. It's not what I wanted. Sorry, I actually hit the wrong page. There we go. So, as you sort of step or work your way across the garden quarter, following the main roads through the high market and up and around down to the nymph and satyr.
I can't take a shortcut across the grass?
Nah, because you got to remember, if you look, these are actually like sort of steep hills. I mean, you could walk up and down it, but that's kind of crossing over private property and stuff like that. And it's
no, I wouldn't do that.
Very much frowned upon in this district, because you're talking, these are private residences. They're like, for example, this right here is one of the heads of state here in Greyhawk. Is like, so you'll be like walking right through their yard or their lawn area, if you will.
No. Wouldn't do that. I'll take the road.
And of course, right here is a city watch station, so you'd have to walk right past them up over the hills, stuff. So anyway, it takes you a little while to kind of get over there. But like I was saying, is the Nymph and Satyr is a place that has some of the more exotic ales. It's a well-to-do clientele. A lot of this district has embassies, and so you've got people from all over the free lands that are working for the lords and ladies who are ambassadors from their country, right? So a lot of the folks that work with them or are them, it could be, some of the sons and daughters, young courtesans and etc. That sort of hang out at this place. So anyway, diplomats, nobles, minor nobles in the city, that's the kind of what this place So you're able to get there, and like I said, they said it's probably going to be a few hours
Right.
before they get somebody up where you guys can interrogate. So, other than that, are you anybody else? Are you guys just going to wait at the temple until they bring, or
No, I was gonna go with him to the bar.
okay? All right.
I was going to hit the library.
All right. Yeah. Well, I knew that. I was just talking to guys that are staying at the in this area waiting to do the interrogation. So I don't know if Zadkiel's just going to wait or he's actually going to go. I don't know if Varys is going to wait or if Varys is going to go. So I just wanted to get a sense of who was where.
Remember, I'm in,
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're going searching her office. Sorry.
I'm looking through all the shit.
Yep. Gotcha. All right. So Varys, you spend probably about an hour and a half meticulously. So give me a trio of search checks.
He says,
Yeah.
right here. Not one, two, three. Hey, 2 ones.
So you don't let on, but as you're searching through this entire place, you discover that she has a pair of hidden drawers on her desk, and there is a hidden wall safe behind one of the paintings. You just don't let on that you found it. But other than that, you don't find anything that looks to you like it would be a map or anything like that. Although you do find there are some drawings and paintings and whatnot on the walls and the tapestries and stuff that indicate that there was a great evil in the city long ago that was vanquished by the church and the paladins of St. Cuthbert. And you can see that there's a couple of mages that are painted on there as well, but they're sort of faceless paintings. They're not any details or anything. But you can see there's a pair of mages as well as a paladin and a... Okay. Yeah, like I said, you can see that the paladin is obviously wearing the colors and the armor of St. Cuthbert, as is one of the clerics or the cleric that is in the group. The other two appear to be mages, one of them wearing simple, regular magi clothing, the other one wearing magi clothing. They're just different colors, right? One of them sort of a bluish and the other one is in a flat gray. But you see this wreath of smoke coming up off of the one with the gray.
Okay. There's not a map behind the painting or whatever.
No, that's what I said as you were searching. You didn't find anything with that.
All right, well,
those are the only things of interest that you really found.
Okay. Safe and 2 hidden drawers.
Yep. Now I'm gonna have to redraw the office.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have to round or hit on the high police. Well, I say, well, so you have a painting of them. Although
she
there's
kind of
not
looks.
any details.
She looks just like.
Probably for their protection, no doubt.
Yeah, she comes over and she looks and goes, I had forgotten that was there. I see it all the time, but I had completely forgotten this was there. This was here long before I arrived, so I don't know who the artist was, but it was apparently a depiction based on the memory and the accounts of those who were there. So there you can see Lord Talamar, and there you can see Elemen flanking the two. This one is Quevel, and the other, of course, is Mazab. Always in his gray. It seemed to be his color of choice. A very neutral. Didn't like to go outside the bounds of his strict rigor. As I said, a very private man as well. So, heading off toward the Clerksburg Baron, you soon find yourself passing through the city walls, heading over toward to check out the sages. You One of the, I'm trying to look for where it was. I had it here.
I
There's
have
a
met one of these sages before. He had helped me quite a bit. I'd like to talk to him again.
Yep. So you know that right here in the center of Clerksburg is a location known as the Savant Tavern. It is a very well-known kind of hangout for the various sages and book learners and academics in the city. And so that is as good a place as any to find your friend. You know that you've met them there before, you've seen them there before. And so you find yourself arriving there probably in the early afternoon. And it's the tavern itself is fairly open. It has a building, and then out back it has a raised deck with an open seating area outside. So on the nicer days, there's a lot of folks that sit out back there and sit in their little college groups and have their little group studies or their little somebody testing their theories with other people and whatnot. But inside, you do find your sage friends, and I don't have the names because I know we had them before, but I don't have the names handy. But you do manage to find a sage that you had spoken to before, having a drink and involved in some sort of an esoteric, ethereal discussion with another fellow on some off-the-wall topic. As you approach, he sort of raises his hand. Good friend Baron, please come. You must back me up on this. Tell him. Trying to get from the astral plane to the ethereal plane is not quite as simple as just one stepping over a doorway. There are many, many things that you must think of first, the least of which is the viscosity of the air fluid with which you are stepping into. Tell him, Baron. Tell him I'm right.
Yeah. Excuse me. I am a little bit dry. Let me get something to drink here.
Yes, of course. As they flag the barmaid to grab you an ale or drink of choice.
One of the problems with traveling from plane to plane is that the routes are never the same.
See? Tell him, Baron. See, he knows. This man here is a complete dunce. He has no idea. And, of course, his friend's getting red-faced. I am not a dunce. I know what I am speaking of. But we will...
There are very few fixed entrances to the elemental planes. Usually, usually, if we have to travel from one plane to another, we have to pass through another plane to get there.
See, exactly. And you have to take into account the point of reference and the point of destination and the fluid between the two. This is my whole theory on how we can account for those fluids. And so we will minimize the randomness of, oops, I may not have gotten the exact spot. And so now half my body's in 10 tons of rock. Have you ever teleported yourself into 10 tons of rock? I can tell you it is not a fun experience, and you had better figure it out quickly because an instant later you're going to be crushed.
The creatures that inhabit these interplanal areas is what you really have to worry about.
Well, no, that's a completely separate story. So obviously you are not here to discuss the theory of travel probability, but what brings you here, my friend?
Once again, myself and my cohorts have been tasked by the church.
Oh, why do you continue to get involved with those heretics? Everybody knows that St. Cuthbert was a fraud. He was propped up merely because he opposed IUs. Everybody hates IUs, but St. Cuthbert made it the only thing. Bocob. Put your money on Bocob. Why? Because he doesn't care. You can do your own thing. They Bocob the uncaring for a reason. Anyway, I apologize. It is your life. You get involved with whoever you wish to.
The Saint did quite well
Apparently so.
by keeping ayus, and I spit on the ground.
This is true.
Okay, but we have been tasked one more time. I mean, they did ask politely, but they did ask politely, but here we are again.
Hmm.
Okay, they seem to think that that the evil creature that had been vanquished and that cult, they seem to think that it's reconstituting itself somewhere outside
Evil
of the city.
creature. I don't. What evil creature? Haven't heard anything about this.
It's a she refers to herself as better write this down. Not say the name out loud. Write it down.
Okay.
She refers to herself as this.
And he reads it and he goes, "Oh, so she's a bird. Like birds.
Not exactly. More of a shape changer, perhaps
Oh.
a lamia of some sort.
Hmm.
We did see a snake form.
Lycanthropy? Oh, a snake. I've never heard of lycanthropic snake.
Yeah. So they seem to think that that she's going to reconstitute herself somewhere out in the wilderness, and
Hmm.
then come back again for another try.
Hmm. Okay, and so what is it you seek from us? It seems you seem to know much more than we ever know.
Lore. I would like to know if there have been any any cults of IS worshippers, um, worshippers outside of the city, the great city of Greyhawk.
Hmm.
Okay, a clue was given to us. We should not look to the sky as if looking for birds. We should look to the ground as if looking for snakes. And of course, there's that shape changing that's involved.
I see.
Okay,
Hmm.
and is there a place that snakes? I'm not a I know little of the natural world, as you probably all do.
Hmm.
Uh, is there a place outside of the city where the snakes come and mate in one area, or
No.
something along those lines?
No, nothing that I have ever heard of, no. But cults and stuff, cults are can be considered snakes or um so perhaps this cult has everybody records things. So your best bet is to probably
It is somewhere. It has to be somewhere underground, and it has to be in a familiar place,
Hmm.
because the cult reconstituted itself in a familiar place within the city of Greyhawk. They're not very imaginative.
that's
So
cult members. They are nothing if persistent.
they 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 must, if this is happening outside of the city, and I have no idea whether or not it's happening or not, but uh let's just say we have debts that we have to pay. Uh, if if there was a center of of a suspicious activity somewhere in the neighboring lands, I'd like to know about it. I
Mm-hmm.
very much would like.
So all I could tell you is all recorded history, all of the recorded history of the city, all the recorded history of its peoples or well-known events and whatnot. I would have to say it would go to the library to do the research there. I can.
One of the two magic users that were involved in in trapping this evil creature, okay, had made a map.
Who is this wizard that made this map? Why don't you go talk to him?
He's probably dead at this point. This was
Oh.
years ago.
Well, have you gone to the Wizards Guild to speak with them? They know all the wizards. What's a name? But do we know him?
Yeah, I don't have his name Phil does not have his name handy, but I.
Mazab. His name was Mazab. Or Mazab.
Okay, was he a good member? Was he in good standing with the sages in this area?
Give me just a second here. Uno momento. So, as soon as you mention the name Mazab, these two guys just sort of look at each other and then sort of chuckle and choke their beer almost as they set it down. Mazab! Did you say Mazab? You said Mazab has a map? Mazab is a crackpot. Why are you getting involved with anything Mazab had to say or do? He was probably one of the most well-known crackpots. I think the only reason he was never kicked from the Wizards Guild is because he had been there so long, nobody had the heart to tell him he was no longer part of the guild.
Well, he seemed to know what he was doing with his partner when they were able to trap this demigod within an interplanal space.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I just know that for everything I've ever heard, every story that I've ever heard about him is he was very, very eccentric, very, very off his rocker. And the more he said and discussed, the more people felt he was a crackpot and more off of his rocker. So I think you're probably running yourself on a wild goose chase here, my friend.
I would just assume chase that wild goose until I find her.
Okay.
Just to be sure that this is I can convince the church that this is not happening again.
Okay.
But I would like to do some research into some of the lore around the city.
So your best bet is to enter into the go into the library, talk to Gradius. Gradius is the head librarian. I'm sure that he'll be able to direct you on whatever sections that you're looking for and stuff. So
thank you for your time. I will put your gold on the table for them and buy the next round for them.
Oh, now you're talking. See, you speak sage.
Yes, I do.
All right. And
thank you.
Yep. And
Off the ale and then head on back and talk to my
okay. So like I said, it takes a couple of hours for the rest of you as you're waiting on the cult members to be brought. And sure enough, like 3 hours on the dot, you guys are once again contacted. I need you guys to give me a Constitution check, please. Deglin and Reese.
Oh, the drinkers, yes.
Nope, I failed.
I think he passed out.
As you guys are contacted by an acolyte of the church, you're almost not ready to go back, but you're in the middle of singing a rousing tune of song as the bard is dancing about the bar, bringing everything up to a crescendo. And as you guys are yelling and screaming and kicking your heels, the cleric acolyte arrives and after a few minutes finally gains your attention to let you know that the cult members have been brought back for your questioning, and they will be awaiting your arrival. And it takes you guys a while.
Of course. Let's go. See what we can get out of those.
Okay, Ossifer, take me drunk. I'm home.
Yep. Yep. It takes you guys a little while to get back there. But get back there you do. And as you arrive, you stumble in through the door into the room to see Zadkill there, sitting in a room with Jansen and the girl that you guys found down in the dungeon that you released. They were two of the captors who or two of those who had been captured and dragged out of Shacktown, and you guys found them down in the dungeons. And as you arrive, they sort of stand and look, and you both stand there, queasy as can be. And the next thing you know, Reese, you can't hold it anymore, and your stomach comes right up your throat, right out your mouth and nose, all over the floor.
Been warmer before.
And that's where we're going to stop and take a break. I hope you guys will hang with us as we go through our normal 15-minute break. We will see you on the other side. Don't forget to get your Nat 1s, your Nat 20s, or if you want to cheer a bits or two to help your party members make it through, find what they're looking for as they continue to investigate the whereabouts of the lair of the Falcon, which is apparently no longer, or was never in the city itself. They're looking for something outside the box, so to speak. So we shall be back shortly. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. Smooth, silky sounds of Monkey Boogers. Go to his SoundCloud, check it out.
With Kroger Delivery, even if you don't live near a Kroger store, you can still get fresh groceries delivered to your door. Kroger's professional drivers guarantee your food is handled with care, and their refrigerated trucks mean that every order gets to you extra fresh. Visit Kroger.com and start your cart. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
As a Boost by Kroger member, you'll enjoy unlimited free delivery all year long. Sign up for a 30-day risk-free trial at Kroger.com/boost. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
KFC's new Smashed Potato Bowl is out here looking like an absolute snack. For just $3.49, you get crispy secret recipe fries topped with creamy mashed potatoes, cheese sauce, bacon crumbles, and even more melty cheese. If you're looking to smash your hunger, grab KFC's new Smashed Potato Bowl for just $3.49. For a little extra, add nuggets to the mix. It's finger licking good. Prices and participation may vary. Tax tip and fees extra.
Awkward pause.
Why was that being said?
Nothing. The music just paused a little bit, so I said awkward pause.
Ah!
If you travel, you know how to pull off a perfect getaway. You know after you enroll with your Delta SkyMiles Platinum American Express card, you get up to $10 back monthly on U.S. rideshare purchases with select providers, like a car to the airport. You know which remote retreats have the best herbal baths, and where the Wi-Fi password is rarely used. Because you're the escape artist. It's why you're a Delta SkyMiles Platinum American Express card member. If you travel, you know. Terms apply. Purchases must be on card. Visit go.amex/you-know.
Thank you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Are we allowed to add or put stuff under our character sheet? Like I was going to add that diamond.
Yeah. You should be able to. Hang on just a sec. We'll go over it. I'm putting you guys on the map.
Alright, I'm back. I had a little medical thing going on.
Oh, you alright, dude?
Yeah, stomach issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Might be calling that nurse.
Yeah.
If it gets any worse.
Okay.
Lay off the Taco Bell, dude.
Nah, I got some deal with YouTube.
Hey, you lay off the laying off the Taco Bell, dude.
Indeed. I haven't had Taco Bell in a month.
Yeah.
Like a year.
It's probably been about a year for me, too.
All right, we is back. Oops, how'd that
We have
happen?
homemade tacos, which are better for you, probably
That's no
too.
bueno. There we go. Give me uno momento here, fellers. Apologies. And there.
Take your time.
And there. Yep. Yeah, so let's see, who am I missing? I got Baron. Oh, Ronnie. Sorry. Huh. We drop Ronnie on the map here. Ronnie was headed to the library, is that correct? Did I remember that correctly?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Ronnie was going to the library. Yep.
Session notes. Yep, Ronnie Library. All right, so need to drop him down a little here. I put you guys all individual tokens on there now so that you can kind of move yourself. So Ronnie, it's in the morning time as you leave. It's about 12 o'clock when you leave the Church of St. Cuthbert, and roughly around about 12:45 or so. It takes you a half hour, 45 minutes to work your way past the college and the various college buildings to find yourselves at the great library of Greyhawk. You have been to this establishment before. Give me a sec. I'm just calling up. Oh, what the heck? Come on, man.
They probably wouldn't like it if I conjured a fire elemental in there.
Say, that would be kind of interesting. So you can see that the front of the building, which faces toward the processional, which is the main street in town, a granite sweep of tall columns holding up the edifice that hangs above the entryway into the great library. The building facade out front is extremely ornate and detailed and very impressive. But it's just a facade because the back of the building is sort of old school brick and mortar, kind of plain Jane, not quite as impressive. But looking at it from the street, it is definitely an impressive building. And as you step in, the coolness of the day becomes even slightly cooler in the shadows of the great columns and that sweep into the main library. The doors themselves are probably 9 feet tall and 5 feet wide each. They're just these massive portals that sort of stand open during the day to allow you into the dimly lit interior, although there are various places where ever-burning torches or continual lights are permanently cast upon some of the illumination places. It's still relatively dim on the inside. As you step into the interior, you can see the desk of the head librarian just as you come into the entry. An old, cracked skin, white-haired, balding, crotchety old fellow by the name of Gretz. He says it's supposed to be pronounced gracious, but everybody knows it. They call him Gradius. But he's like, it's supposed to be gracious or whatever. But he is the head librarian. Sitting upon this raised platform just inside the door is his rather large desk, and he looks down upon you as you come in. Now, you have been into the library before. You know that the library has 6 general wings, including history, geography, art, poetry, science, and kind of general. Each section has anywhere from 3 to 18,000 books just in each section alone. You could spend 3 hours in a section. You could spend 20 hours in a section just trying to find what you may be looking for as you are digging. And so as you sort of step in, he just kind of looks down. He seems to have recognized that you've been here before, and he looks and says, "What is it today? It's 1 gold piece per hour for searching for whatever it is that you might be searching for."
I'm like, okay, well, like, all right. Well, that's excellent because I've got acorns to galore.
Well, I am quite sure that if there were a druid in here minding my library, those acorns would be sufficient to impress them, but they are not sufficient enough to impress me. We prefer the more hard metal coins such as gold.
Well, I said, if you demand gold, then I could gladly pay you twice later for the option of looking right now.
We are not a bank. We do not supply credit here. If you wish credit, go find a bank. Otherwise, cash up front, 1 gold coin for every hour, payable on the hour.
Well,
so that being said, so essentially that means you can go in, you can search for an hour, but at the end of that hour, you are required to pay the gold or depart.
Well, DM, I think it would be even smarter for me to walk back, get 5 gold pieces from my partners, and then walk back over again.
Okay.
Since I don't have any gold on me whatsoever.
Okay. I am going to post in the campaign the 6 wings, just so you guys are aware. Those are the various wings of the library, just so you're aware. So if you ever say, hey, I want to look up something, all right, well, what wing you want to go look in? Oh, I want to go look in the geography wing, or whatever the case may be.
All right. Well, DM, knowing that librarians typically know where some things are at a minimum, maybe he's even got an aerial servant, or who knows what he might have, maybe even a locate object at his disposal. I'm going to describe to him, and he should know, about the last battle, and then the keeping of the records and where those might have been located when the first time they put down the Falcon.
He kind of looks, and he says, I would probably recommend something in the history section to see if perhaps there is a history of this alleged cult that you say was thrown down however long ago. So if there is any record of it, I would probably look in the history. However, if this was a politically motivated cult, then perhaps you could look in the science section. And last but not least, news and such articles and whatnot you would probably find in a more generalized section. So it depends on how deep and how detailed the knowledge that you are seeking. I tend to start with looking high and then narrowing my search as I gain more information. But then I'm a librarian and I am smart and you are not.
Yes, this is true. Perhaps you could help me, and I will double the fee since you are smart and I am not.
Help you? No, I am the librarian. I run the library. There are paid attendants to aid you for a silver coin per hour should you so desire additional aid in your search.
Excellent. I will take 20 aids.
I don't know if we have that many on hand, but I shall see what I can do.
You mean a great library like this, and you don't have 20 aides to help
not
a
available.
mentally challenged researcher?
I can get 20 attendants. It's if they're not already attending other patrons. You, sir, are not the only patron in the Free City.
Well, this is true. This is true. And I'm going to tell them a story about when I was just a little Ronnie, and my mom used to take me to the library, and there was a sweet librarian that would always help.
And he's not even paying attention anymore. As soon as you start talking, he gets down back to whatever he's doing and scribbling in his book.
All right, deal. Well, I'll take whatever attendance he has and go ahead, and I'll split them up between the history section and then the politics section, and send one guy to the news section.
Okay. All right, that's fair. So I need you, if you would. So first of all, we're going to go to which wings did you say?
You're going to history, go to politics, and news.
All right. So the I'm just double checking here to say. All right. Actually, let's see. Did I say politics in there? Actually, it wasn't politics. No, sorry. Yeah, that was a misspeak on my part. There's history, geography, artistic studies, poetry, science, and general. So those are the. So it's poetry, science, and general. It wasn't political. It was poetry. Sorry, it was just a misspeak on my part. So anyway, we can do at least two of them for right now, and then you can decide what the third one is. So we're going to do history and general. Give me a 3d6, please. Just because I'm going to let you dictate how this goes.
Well, he paid for his privilege, right?
He did. All right. So that turns out to be so. As you get to the history section, the attendant he gives you one attendant for each section. By the way, he has 3 attendants. So that's going to be 3 gold, 1 for each section, and then
3
3 silver. 3 silver, correct. Sorry, thank you. That's my
Roger.
So anyway, and so the history section, the attendant tells you there are 11,326 books in my history section, sir. Typically, it takes, depending upon the details of the knowledge, it's going to take at least an hour to rummage through about 1,000 of those books. So if we don't find anything in the first hour, do you wish me to continue, or do you wish me to stop after the first hour, sir?
Nope, I do wish you to continue.
Okay. So the attendant, now give me another 3d6, please.
Do you want them rolled individually or all together?
Oh, you can just roll 3d6 together. It doesn't matter. It's for, I need a number from 3 to 18, so 3d6s. All right. So in the general section, there are roughly 8,000 books, and the other attendant tells you essentially the same thing. It takes about an hour to go through 1,000 books or so. So it could take anywhere up to 8 hours to kind of breeze through every book in there, right? Not to say that they would find a lot, because that's searching fairly quickly, right? And so that's just general perusing. And so as you're standing there, the attendants look and say, "So, sir, if I may ask, what are we looking for?"
Well, this is where I tell them the whole story about the Falcon and how the city was under threat, decades ago, and then blah blah blah.
Okay.
And I explain the whole thing to them to help them narrow and define, and even have key names and locations and data.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you're gonna have to tell them, what am I looking for all of this? Am I looking for one name in specific? Am I looking for one? I guess that's kind of what I'm.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for the victors decades ago found a location where where the Falcon was, but they didn't leave us the information. They say they left the information.
I see. So who were these people? Perhaps we can start there. Talamar is his name. So we can search for Talamar. Any other name? What are the names of the individuals? Do you know them all?
Oh yeah, of course. Ronnie knows them, but I don't. The magic user,
Mizab.
And then I think there was another one.
Quivel.
Yes, indeed. And I let them know and they also thought that they were looking for a bird, but it was more like a snake, to see if that gives them any more of a hint.
So Ronnie, being the not stupid guy that he is, tells them Talamar, Mazab, Quevel, and Element, which is why we take notes in class, children.
Well, I was actually repairing my watch while you were telling that whole story, so I didn't have a spare hand.
Gotcha. Totally okay. Priorities, man. Got to have a watch.
I haven't had my watch for like a month, and I finally fixed it.
Just remember, never tell anybody a secret when there is a clock or a watch around you. Do you know why?
No.
Because time will tell.
Ooh.
There you go. Well, there you go, DM.
Dad jokes. Dad jokes. Here we go.
What? All right. Yep, I end every meeting with a dad joke, just so you know. All right, so the search keys they're actually going to be looking for are the four names of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I mean, the four guys that took care of the Falcon in the first place. So as we go, I am going to need you're going to need a few dice rolls here, Ronnie, so just get your dice roller handy, or your dice hand warmed up and limbered up. Give me.
All right, I just blew on him too.
All right, give me a D100 dice roll. All right, so give me, and we're just going to kind of go through this, and I'm going to be moving the time as it goes. So I'm going to assume that it's 1 o'clock now. So if we don't find anything by the time you catch up to the 3 o'clock hour, that's when you're sort of caught up in the timeline with everybody, right? And that's kind of where we'll stop. And then if you haven't found anything by then I'll just switch back to the interrogators and we can go back to them, okay?
Fair enough, DM.
All right, so go ahead. Let's see, that's going to be 2, 3, 4. That'll be 2 o'clock. And that'll be 3 o'clock. All right, go ahead and give me another dice roll, please. D100. And another. And another. Oops, you ran it twice. Let me see what you got here. So, you guys are searching for probably an hour and 20 minutes or so. It's roughly, 2:15 in the afternoon. one of the attendants comes back with several books, and he says, excuse me, he says that he wasn't able to find anything about Talamar or Quevel or Elliman, although he did find a little passage about Elliman being being brought in as the cleric or the head cleric of the Temple of St. Cuthbert of the Free City. So there is a little bit of stuff in that in the history books, but that's really about it when it comes to Elliman. But Mazab, he says that he has found his name in a few of the different books that he was able to find discussing the history of magic in the Free City. There's a book called Magic in the Flannis. There's another one called Mages of Greyhawk and Greyhawk's Contributions to the World of Magic. So in these various books, the authors discuss the magic user Mazab. And as you're reading through the notes, you get the impression that nobody really thought Mazab was a very good or not as powerful or as famous as some of the other wizards that made their names in Greyhawk. For example, Zagig, who founded the city, or Tensor. However, everybody agrees that he was the foremost expert on magic dealing with flight. Most of the books that you read mention him to be pretty reclusive and very erratic in his behaviors, which is probably something that affected his credibility, because as good as he might have been at the magic that he did, the fact that people saw him as a little over-the-top eccentric, if you will, kind of probably brought down his how people thought about him as a wizard and stuff. But all of them agree that his theories and experiments in flight were remarkable. One of the books even says that he was a resident of the city, but it doesn't mention where in the city he may have lived or if it's actually a fact, but it just kind of mentioned it.
All right.
And the other one comes from the general section. Most of the books in the general section are works of fiction, archaeology, religion, heraldry, miscellaneous, etc. However, along the same lines, a lot of the information that the scribe helped you find was pretty scattered and skimpy. A lot of it, what you find in like biographies of mages. And while not regarded as one of the more important, a few paragraphs do mention that, he was rather eccentric, erratic, once again knew about his flight and stuff like that. However, in one book titled Luminary Wizards of Greyhawk, there was actually, you find a full, almost 2-page write-up by an apprentice or whatever of the Wizards College, and it talks about Mazab a lot. And if anybody wants to take notes, I would start taking notes as I go, just in case, so I don't have to read through this again. But take what you want. It says, Mazab Zalen was a reclusive mage of uncertain reputation who lived in or around Greyhawk for approximately 40 years. He made significant contributions to the study of magical flight, map making, and the anatomy of dragons. At one time, he produced drawings of dragons based on what he claimed were actual observations of live dragons. Although the drawings appear to be authentic, no flaws, obvious or minute, were ever detected in the drawings. Their authenticity has never been acknowledged due to Mazab's eccentric habits and lifestyle, which cast a shadow upon his which cast a shadow on his reliability and dependability. Nevertheless, his sketches revealed previously unknown details of dragons' anatomy, such as scale patterns, wing construction, details about talons, horns, and spiny plates. Mazab's origin is unknown, but those who knew him guessed he was from somewhere near Greyhawk, based on his familiarity with both the city and surrounding countryside. He was acquainted with every nook and cranny, a surprising ability for someone so eccentric. Mazab's wizardly training is also a mystery, since the wizard school has no record of him studying there at any level. He frequented the guild hall, however, and became a fixture in its library for days and weeks at a time. He was known to follow these extended studies with extended disappearances lasting sometimes over a month. He always vanished without warning or word to anyone, and more than once he was given up for dead, only to return to the guild hall just as suddenly as he departed. His returns were always marked by good health, and he appeared as a man invigorated and rested, not the victim of foul play or illness, as was sometimes speculated. His sudden, lengthy, and unexplained disappearances account for his unreliable reputation. When queried about such disappearances, his answer was always the same thing: magical research. He never provided details of his journeys to anyone, nor did he share details of his research until he was quite certain that his methods were on the right course. Among Mazab's achievements were improvements to the various flying spells that are known around Greyhawk, enabling better stability and maneuverability and enabling greater heights to be reached, various magical rings and potions that enabled flight, various articles of clothing that also allowed either flight or levitation. He was also known as an expert mapper and made many excellent contributions to the available information about the countryside surrounding Greyhawk. He designed his maps from the air, allowing them to be rendered accurately and in great detail. Mazab even devised his own extremely practical system for identifying the variations in slope at different types of terrain. Apparently, Mazab also had a great passion for the study of dragons. He was known to have lengthy discussions at the guild hall with anyone who would discuss the great worms. He was as interested in legends and myths about dragons as he was in facts. He seemed to enjoy listening to old yarns about dragons and encouraged the telling of even the crustiest ancient stories. His dream was to get close enough to a dragon in order to study it, and toward the end of his days in Greyhawk, Mazab claimed that he had done just that. He produced drawings and sketches of the worm he had observed, and although the sketches were never accepted as authentic renderings, as of the time of this writing, they have never been proven counterfeit. The legends and rumors of the dragons of Greyhawk have long permeated this community, and while learned men believe in their existence, wise men discount claims of recognizing dragons in human forms as hysterical. Mazab, on the other hand, professed to recognize these highly magical creatures of fantasy. Persons who claimed knowledge of the dragons of Greyhawk in the past had a strange tendency to disappear. Naturally, Mazab had no proof of who or what these beasts were. He nonetheless claimed that he could pick out the dragons who masqueraded as humans, living in communities with the common folk, and walked the streets of this great city. For all Mazab's talents, his unusual behavior and insistent beliefs about the dragons of Greyhawk only harmed his credibility and reputation. He might have become one of the greatest mages of Greyhawk had it not been for his conspicuous eccentricities. And that is the full passage of Mazab from that one book, Luminary Wizards of Greyhawk, written some 10 years ago.
So he was still alive as of at least 10 years ago.
Well, not necessarily. That was 10 years ago this book was written about him, but he had been gone before then, so not really sure if he was still alive at the time of writing or not. But well, they did say...
It's interesting that his maps were taken from overhead, that he was interested in flight, and he claimed to have firsthand knowledge of some dragons. Perhaps he was a dragon in human shape.
Now you're going to be a crazy person as they look at you and they just say, yeah, if that's all you need from us, sir, that'll be two gold and 2 silver, please, sir.
I give them the 2 gold for the time, and then I give each researcher another gold.
Oh, okay. Come back at any time you need a researcher, sir. I am here for you.
I say, yes, gentlemen, I may have party members who come down here and also search for these things now that we have a little bit further knowledge on. And I said, you know what? Maybe if you guys happen to stumble across some of his dragon drawings or some of his maps, maybe you could bring them to us. We're staying at the inn up there on the other side of town.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we can do that.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. And you depart, and as you're departing, it is just about right before 3 o'clock, and by the time you get back to the temple, you are just arriving just in time to see Reese sort of stumbling out of the room that they are gathered in, and you can see that he has vomit on his boots. His eyes are blurry, and he looks at you, and you can see a couple of acolyte clerics in the room he stepped out of, apparently cleaning the floor.
Oh, Ronnie! Welcome back. How you doing, dude? What'd you find out anyway?
I think he's talking to you, Ronnie.
Yes, one must drink a full quart of water before they can hear it.
What? You got that? I just lost my cookies in there. I've been drinking over at the Nymph and the Satyr. Oh, good stuff.
Yes, it smells like it.
But yeah, I'll be okay soon. We got to interrogate somebody, but all they brought was a little girl.
And as you look in there, Ronnie, you recognize the young man and the girl that you guys rescued from the cell in the torture chamber where you found the bodies that were cooked inside the kettle. And you found the boy and the girl, and you realized that the boy was Jansen, who was the circus performer that was living in Shacktown, who got kidnapped out of Shacktown, but you guys found his diary in Shacktown. And so, but you recognize him and the girl as they're sort of sitting there looking curiously at Zadkiel and a bleary-eyed Deglin who hasn't thrown up yet, and a bleary-eyed Reese who just puked all over the room. And Varys, I'm not sure if you wanted to join them when you were done, but I'm assuming probably maybe you joined them when you were done. But
hey, is that a pond out there?
Yes, it is a small little pond out behind the chap, or the right to the side of the temple.
Reese is gonna go over there and rinse off his boots.
Okay, as you go to do that. So Ronnie, Varys, Zadkiel, and Deglin, and now Baron, as Baron is returning from, or were you? I'm sorry, Baron. Were you going to go to the library? I forgot.
Yes.
I forgot.
Yes, I was. I was going to join with them and try to figure out. Excuse me. Try to figure out if any of the if any of the information that we have heard from the church is real or not.
Okay, so you talk in which information? The with regard to the Falcon escaping, or with regard to what happened 60, 70 years ago on the first Falcon attack? Because the stuff that happened just recently would not have made it into the library in any form of book form yet. Because it's only been like 2 weeks, right? So they don't have a book in the library about that. However, if you're talking about historical stuff, it's quite possible that you could find history of item or history of stuff in the library.
Okay, well, I'll continue my research. I will continue my research when my companions get there.
So when you arrive at the library, you see Ronnie working with a pair of researchers, apparently, and they're discussing something. And when you get there, you see Ronnie handing them coin payment for their services, saying, "Thank you, gentlemen." And then he does say also that if you happen to run across any information about this cult or their members or the Falcon or anything like that during their normal search for other things, to let you guys know. And so as you approach, you see Ronnie turning to leave, apparently done with whatever he was doing. So you're more than welcome to stay and look for other stuff or even the same stuff if you want. But it's totally up to you what you would want to look for in the library.
So what did you find out, Ronnie? Ethan?
If
Oh.
Ron has learned things, then I will ask him.
Yes, and
You're really quiet, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you're sitting back from your microphone, but when you first started today, you were nice and loud. But now when you talk, you're clear, but you're very faint. So I don't know if it's.
I'm trying not to scare my wife.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. So anyway, yeah. So essentially, Ronnie, everybody has asking you, what did you find out?
Well, I let them know about the Mazzaro was a very eccentric mage, and he drew drawings and maps from overhead. He claimed to have known dragons in person and had a bunch of drawings of them. Then there's also drawings of his of geography and maps, of which I haven't found any of those yet, but I do have a standing order for them to find them and bring them to us. And that he would often disappear and then show back up in a month or so later. He was not a well-respected mage like all the other fellows, but he did advance magic and most of the spells of flight. And me being a druid, I just have a hint that there's more to this dragon stuff than meets the eye.
Well, I mean, that's possible. I tell you what, instead of having the standing order, let's make him find it now. And I lay some gold down.
Well, that's certainly possible. And I said it's a silver piece for an hour of their labor, and then gold for an hour of access. So it's certainly possible to do that.
I lay 2 gold down and say, make both fast. Like, make the finding the info fast, so I can not waste my time.
Yeah, and I unfortunately have found that the further you get into specializing in one area of knowledge, the less that you believe that anybody else in the world is competent.
Yeah, it sounds like he probably got absorbed in his work. Everybody thought he was wacky as a nutcase and wrote him off.
The word crackpot was used quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, we've seen, there's history of my people having plenty of them as well. Elves that go off the rocker.
There seems to be no information on cult activity outside of the city.
Well, I mean, I mean, Did you go around and tell everybody all that information?
Well, I'm talking to Varys right now. I'll be talking to Ronnie because Ronnie has information. I'll share information with him.
Yeah, but
Everybody will know.
who did you tell?
I didn't tell anybody except you.
Okay.
This came from I spent bent the elbows with some sages, discovered that yes, the more that they know about a single subject, the less they know or believe about anybody else's competency. And I
Okay.
pass along the information that I pass along the information of, they, that the sages told me that they think this Mahab guy, the Mahab wizard, was a crackpot.
Yeah. Well, I mean
This
that we knew already. That's
Well,
nothing
I didn't
new.
know it. I didn't know it until I talked to
The
them.
princess told us that.
Yet,
And so then the journal that what's his name there?
somehow, that yet for him to be a crackpot, okay, and to
I mean, many wizards are considered crackpots. I believe that's just that's just common way of writing off someone you don't understand.
he must have known something because he helped
Oh,
a
no
lot of
doubt,
people out there.
probably.
As you're sitting there discussing
Yeah, and that.
this sorry, as you're
Yeah.
sitting there discussing, suddenly flying through a window is this piece of paper folded like a bird, and it's flapping, and it flies over, and it lands on Baron's nose. It's just like a little piece of paper origami folded up like a bird, but it's actually flying, and then it just lands right on your nose and sits there.
My goodness, when did we go to Hogwarts?
What are you calling Blade Runner?
Well, I will take the origami bird carefully off of my nose.
Okay.
And I will look at it.
You can see that it's a folded up note in the shape of a bird.
Okay, and I will say, excuse me, Mr. Folded Up Bird, but I do need to read what is on your
As the paper unfolds, you see a note that says Fireseek 10, 587, 1 p.m. Appointment approved. Master Connery.
This must be from the Wizards Guild. Are there any official looking seals or anything on it?
Yeah, you can consider it to be an official stamp of the Mages Guild.
Interesting. This I was not expecting.
So today is the 9th. The appointment says the 10th at 1 p.m.
Okay.
With someone named Connery.
Connery, yes. Yes, I will schlep back over to the Wizards Guild and find out what they wish of me. I know that I'm not going to be free.
Well, I mean, that's tomorrow, so.
Well, I'm not going to schlep over them now, mind you. Right now, I'd like to go ahead and discuss over a couple of ales what you gentlemen have found in your researches today, and I'll tell you what I have found in mine, and then we can start tossing theories around.
Well, I wanna do some more here because.
Okay.
Ronnie gave them the standing order to bring the info to them. I want to bring it now to me and to my friends. I don't want to wait around.
I'll help you with your researches now, but I have an appointment at 1 o'clock tomorrow at the week.
Well, I'm not asking you to help me. I'm paying the library people gold to find it now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What else are we looking for? Because they searched and they found that information in those books, but
any of the wizards' maps, writings,
right, I get you. Yeah, I get you.
anything.
I get you. Well, I'm just saying it's 1 gold piece per hour.
Yeah,
right? They're still alive. Okay.
I said I was laying gold down.
Okay.
And,
I heard 2 gold, so I figured
yeah,
that was another
well,
hour.
I tell you what, I'll lay 20 gold down.
Okay.
Make it happen.
Okay.
I'm tired of spending an hour doing almost nothing.
Okay.
I feel I should, Varys, I feel I should let you know that they didn't take the sages that I had talked to, didn't take the idea of Zab making an accurate map seriously.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't care. Anything is better than nothing.
All right. So I guess Ronnie.
I am telling you what I am telling you what I
Yeah,
know.
I know, I understand that, but Varys is an information guy. I mean, I'm used to finding things out. I also have some things to discuss in a bit myself.
Okay. So before too much further, then, so you're handing Ronnie 20 gold.
No, I'm handing the wizard, the librarian people.
You're not at the library.
Oh, I thought we were.
No, you guys.
We went all the way there.
No. You guys. Sorry, I guess there was a confusion. Ronnie came back. You guys were in right now where it stands. You guys are all back at the Temple of Cuthbert. In the room with the 2 cult members that you guys saved from down below. Ronnie had just come back. Baron had just come back. You were already there. Reese has just stepped out after throwing up all over himself in the floor. He's going outside to wash his feet off in the little pond there. Now in the room we still have Zadkiel and Deglin, albeit Deglin's a little wasted, but he's not puking wasted, and you have the 2 cult members there. And so Ronnie has just returned and gave you guys the information that he received in his research at the library, and Baron has sort of corroborated some of it in the sense that Mazab was considered to be a wackadoo, not very trustworthy, but he's really, really good in certain types of magic. And so I was just trying to get clear what we were saying about, all right, we're going to go back to the library. So that would mean somebody's got to go back to the library. Who was going back to the library? I would like to get, at least if you guys wanted to do an interrogation of these 2 cult members.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to sit in. I'd like to sit in on the interrogation.
Yep.
And also run through some of the many possibilities through my mind at this point.
Right. All right. So as you guys are sitting there, Zadkiel, Reese, you come back, still wasted, but you're not puked now. Your stomach's empty, so you're no more chance of puking. And Deglin, you 3 are in the room with these 2 former, I say cult members, but you can call them cult prisoners because technically they were locked up.
Right. I don't think that they were actually members of the cult, were they?
They weren't. They were trying to be coerced to join the cult, but they basically refused.
So that's why they were being tortured.
And then, as far as you know, they were getting ready to be the next ones in the cooking pot.
Right. So these are not what we asked for. We asked for people that were actually in the cult.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. We didn't want prisoners. We wanted actual cult members.
Okay. So it takes a little bit. Again, takes another hour or so. When
I'll refrain from drinking for that hour.
As you guys slowly begin to sober up, they do bring back 2 individuals that were cult members, but they're not like magic users or clerics or anything like that. They're more like thug types.
Okay.
You can see that they
meat shields.
They are very haggard looking. Their eyes are very dark sockets. They're very gaunt, as if they haven't been eating much. as they're just sort of sitting there looking. I've told you everything that I know. I don't know why you want to ask me anymore. I don't know anymore.
Well,
Bring him some food.
The clerk,
Some water.
the acolytes say that they've been trying to get them to eat, but they just nibble at their food. They do drink, so bringing them drink is fine.
What's wrong? Why don't you eat? It's not poisoned.
I just need to die for what we did. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't want to do it. They made me do it, but.
Well, here's your
Saint
chance.
Cuthbert will forgive you, I'm sure.
I can't be forgiven. Not after what we were planning to do. And I don't even know why I did it. I just at the time I thought it was just helping and doing the right thing. But now I see I don't know why I thought it was the right thing. I did. I remember that they invited us to come to see their church and to see what they were about, and it was an exciting service, and the next thing I know, I'm here, and they tell me what happened, and they showed me what happened, and I don't understand it, but that's I don't know why I did it or how we did it or.
You don't remember anything from while you were.
I remember like a dream, like I was there, but I wasn't there. I was watching myself do all of this. I don't understand. And whenever he spoke, I had to do what he said. I couldn't not do what he said. I had to do what he said.
Confess, let it all out.
Well, this is your chance to redeem yourself. For
Yes.
I am trying, but I don't know what else to tell you.
Here's a question. Have you ever, in the service of that falcon god, gone outside the city walls?
No, we lived and worked in the city, and then when the call came, we came to help and set up for the ceremonies, and after the ceremonies we helped to break down, and then that was it.
Have you ever heard of any references of any place else outside of Greyhawk City where they would meet?
No, I don't. Every time we came, they were here. When we left, they were here. I don't think the high priest or the priestesses ever left. I think they stayed here all the time.
I'm wondering if there's any way we can. Okay, so this guy asked the acolytes to the side. Is there a clear brainwashing thing going on here?
Charmed.
Were they were charmed?
Yeah, that's obvious that they were charmed by a very powerful charm spell.
Very powerful charm spell. Is there any way to get past that?
Well, they can tell you everything they did. They saw themselves doing it, but other than they couldn't stop themselves from doing it. It right. wasn't like, but they knew from the talk that when the Falcon came back, they were going to, kill everybody in the city and take it over and open it up for IUs to come here and stuff like that. And so, that's kind of essentially what they told all of the law enforcement officers when they were talking about it. They kind of repeat the same kind of information.
Trying to identify.
Is there a something that the priests here at the church could do to maybe help them forget the evil that they have done?
They might be able to.
Hit them on the head.
No, I feel they have been abused. And they must be cleansed. I can remove a curse, but I do not believe that is what they are compelled by.
Atonement might work.
Yes. They would have to do something, I believe.
Yeah. To make up for the wrongs that they have done.
Yeah, the
But
atonement.
the atonement would work not just for their immortal souls, but for their minds as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as you guys go around and around with these guys for probably an hour, hour and a half or so, you receive a visitor. Ronnie, somebody, one of the acolytes comes in and says, "Excuse me, Mr. Ronnie, there is someone from the library here to see you."
Excellent. I say, please show them in.
As they bring in, you see it's one of the researchers, and he says, "Oh, we found another book. It had some more. It was much the same of what we already read, but it was just an additional passage. Still no maps, but we're still looking."
Excellent. I said, bring it over. I will get you some food. Let's see what you got.
So it really kind of follows along the same information that you saw previously. It says that Masab's credibility was further harmed when he began speaking of a new magic idea that he said that would allow a magic user to permanently imprison someone else in an invisible interdimensional void. He brought up this discussion at the guild hall, but most of the mages there agreed that the logistics of the spell were way too difficult. Many felt that a spell would be impossible without some sort of device in which to trap the victim. Others felt that even if such a spell were devised, the chances of failure were simply too high to warrant its casting if it meant the mage would be leaving himself open to attack. In other words, while you're doing it, you have to concentrate and continue to work on that spell alone, and the length of time it might take would leave you open to free attack. Mazab, on the other hand, believed that such a spell was possible if two magic users worked in conjunction with one another. He felt that their combined powers would be capable of overpowering and trapping another being. Since combined spell casting has rarely ever been attempted and has never known to be successful, the idea was dismissed as folly in the mages of the guild's eyes. Unfortunately for Mazab, this quote-unquote flight of fancy only served to further damage his reputation and push him further from the inner workings of the Mages Guild. His last appearance in Greyhawk at the time of the writing was perhaps 10 years ago. Those who knew him have speculated that he either suffered some fatal accident while flying or fulfilled his lifelong dream of encountering a dragon, thus precipitating his demise. Despite his eccentricities, Mazab made significant contributions to the magical world, but he is presumed dead. No one would be surprised if there was a day, however, that he would appear in the streets of Greyhawk, none the worse for wear after his lengthy absence. And just as you guys are finished reading that, another acolyte arrives and asks if you would follow them back to the conference room. Lady Aratai has urgent business to speak to you about.
As we're walking back to talk to Aratai, I do remember a spell that the clerics have that allows the clerics to combine their magical abilities together.
Yes, there is such a thing.
It's in the
Unearthed Arcana, I believe.
Okay. Well, maybe he was the spearhead of such a spell.
Maybe.
But it's a priest spell, not a wizard spell.
Yeah, it's a priest spell.
Right.
Baron says, I've been going through what I remember in my training, and I can't think of a spell that would do exactly what it was described that was done.
You can or can't? I couldn't hear.
I cannot find
It's me.
Magic jar.
So give me an intelligence check there, Baron.
Okay, intelligence check coming up. And roll. And I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah, you've never heard of that spell. Not really sure
I
what
have
the
to
heck.
go back. Look for it
This
again.
is what we were told happened.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have no idea.
Ah, here it is.
I
This
have
it's
no
called the
idea.
spell of combine. It's a first level spell called combine.
Yep.
The spell enables 3 to 5 clerics to combine their abilities and thereby empower one of their number to cast a spell or turn undead with greater efficacy.
That's it.
That's it.
Never
It-
tried, but
yeah.
I bet it would work
Hmm.
for whatever we're trying to do.
But
Right.
it's shocking that a cleric would have it, but the mages don't.
Well,
So-
mages have it in other editions,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Mages have a
if there
tendency
is.
to work alone.
All right. However, I'm not even going to worry about everybody rolling. You guys, it kind of clicks on you that this spell of combining magic to trap another person in some invisible interdimension sounds strikingly familiar to how Mazab and Quevel managed to trap the Falcon in her interdimension. So it sounds,
That's what I said.
sounds
Yeah.
very similar to the spell that they cast.
Right.
But be that as it may, as you guys are sort of discussing it, as I said, the
Yes.
Priestess
Let's not
Eratai.
ignore the lady.
And as you guys are led into, once again, into the long oval table chamber, you see once again, this time meeting you instead of you having to wait for her, High Priestess Eratai is there alone with Talisek. And she says, "Friends, the Vault Master and his assistants have been combing the vault for a while now since we first discovered this, and even more so redoubled their efforts this day after our initial discussion. And the librarians have searched everything that they could for me in the private section of the library. Finally, a plain scroll tube has turned up holding something I think that you might be interested in seeing." And with that, she whips out this piece of paper, rolls it out on the table, and shows you,
The whistling fish.
no, shows you this. Oops. God damn it. She says they have discovered this map that you see laying before you. I'm certain it's the map to the Falcon's lair. I've had one of the scribes draw a detailed and accurate copy, so we will have a record for your mission, should you choose to
Far to
accept
the
it.
north.
Should you choose to accept it. This map
Nice.
looks
It says lair
self-destructive.
to the evil one. That's nice.
This
Was
will.
this map signed?
It is not signed. However, it appears to show the road north through the Cairn Hills to the north and west, apparently between two mountain peaks shaped in the inverted, what looks to be an inverted snake's teeth.
Oh.
So like the snake's teeth coming up out of the ground, these two sharp peaks, and somewhere in that spot is apparently the lair to the Falcon.
Well, that seems to match up with some of the things we've learned.
And that is where we are going to kill tonight's session. A couple minutes early, but that's okay. As you guys finally have come to your get the map, you've got the information.
Yep.
And now next week, hopefully, you guys can go out and find the lair. Maybe she's there, maybe she's not. but let's
Well,
hope.
I have an appointment the next day, so we'll have to wait for that.
Okay.
Ah, that's right.
All right.
Yeah, you don't want to miss your appointment.
Well, it's important because we need to know how they encased her or put the Falcon into this imprisonment
Right.
in order to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do an improved one.
A new and improved one, or maybe we just kill her. How's
That'd
that?
be better. That would
that would be much better. Yeah.
if we can.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that, folks, we appreciate everybody that has hung out with us tonight. We are going to find somebody to bounce over to. Darlene Creepshow actually, I think, is it tonight? They have their last. It's like the last episode of the game that they've been running. It's actually been pretty good. I've watched bits and pieces of it, but it's not D&D. I think is it Vampire? Is that what they're doing? Or
and they weren't doing Cyberpunk.
Vampire.
That's what it was. They're doing a
Vampire.
Cyberpunk one. Is that what they're doing tonight? Because I think that's the last.
I don't see her on.
Oh, she's not. Well,
She didn't. It was last night.
Oh.
Stream.
Okay.
That was the last episode of the Cyberpunk story.
Oh, for some reason, I must have looked at the wrong date.
So if you all ever want to do any, let me know.
Okay, wrong. Yeah, for some reason, I'll have to go and jump on the stream directly because for some reason, and by the way, like I said, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We will be back next Monday. I'm supposed to be streaming this Friday, but I'm not going to be able to make it. So hope my players aren't mad. I'm going to ask them if they'll do not this coming Friday, but next Friday, and then the Friday after that. So we'll end up doing back-to-back Fridays. But I have a House of Blues free ticket concert that I'm taking my wife to. So
yeah, I wasn't gonna be there either. I got a school DJ. I got a DJ for a dance. So
nice. Look at you. I like it. So yeah. So all right. So that actually will work out then. So hopefully the stream will go off as before. So anyway. So like I said, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I am going to try to figure out what we want to do. We can go to let's go to Magic RPG. We haven't hit the. Hey, thanks, Agora. I didn't even see you out there, dude. I would have given you a shout out. I'm trying to get my Stream Deck's not loading anything. It goes to the page, but it doesn't load to show me who's on or whatever, man. Let's give them. We're gonna give them a shout out just because.
Yeah, I closed everything. So.
Yeah, no big deal. I got them.
I'll see y'all next week.
All right, man.
Yeah, see you guys.
We'll see you guys next Monday as we get ready to bounce over. Raid. Hopefully that works. Dun dun dun. Yep. So we're gonna bounce over them. We will see you guys next Monday. Normally I do like a little mini after party, but I got a bunch of stuff I got to get took care of and stuff. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're going to go over there with just a few folks, but at least we got some, better than none. But just remember, in a world you can be anything you want. All we ask is that you be kind. We will see you next time. See y'all.
The foot soldiers, the Earth cultists got an 11.
Oh, they're so far away, I didn't even see them. Thank you for the raid.
You were saying we were going to go through the listings of stuff, but if you've got stuff to do,
No, I got time to do that though. I got time. I just gotta.
They also have a +2.
I need to shut down the stream.